this it? We're doing it?
I guess, did it start? Well, because you also, I don't think people realize this, you're a talented editor. Are you going to edit some sort of open or something?
We should probably do
okay,
something.
So that's happening.
So cue the open. Hello. Howdy.
There it is. We're doing a podcast.
Yes, we are.
Should I give them the backstory on this?
We should, because I'm sure everybody's thinking just what the world needs. 2 more guys in a garage talking about cars.
No, well, I'll explain it. My name's Artman.
I'm Jason Lewis.
That's Jason Lewis. And we both just absolutely love cars.
Yes.
And what I think's cool about this
Confirmed.
Yeah. What I think is cool is we bring 2 slightly different, like you might relate to one of us or somewhere in between.
Yes.
Because I think I know how to drive and I can do cool things with my car. He actually knows how to.
He's soft selling that, which is, he's like, okay, you do know how to drive.
You know what I'm saying? I'm the typical guy that's like, yeah, I'm badass.
Well, here's how I'll reframe it. So you have a lot of what I would call popular car knowledge. You know about brands. You know every BMW. What are the different, like, he knows all, like,
right.
So you have a ton of detail. You know, Ferraris and whatever. We're sitting right next to a 1973 Mustang that I built from the ground up in this garage just to take in the canyon and thrash the crap out of it.
And he beats on it.
And it does it. So that's, you know what I mean? So but I don't have that depth of knowledge that you do. You know what I mean? So like,
but that's interesting too, because you bring a lot of I call this guy. All right, let me back up a little. The reason we decided to do this is we already have been doing this podcast for about 15 years.
This is our lives. Yeah, exactly.
I'll get on the phone with him. We talk cars. We say, oh, man, we should just do a podcast. And then
15 years go by.
we finally do it. But the other thing, too, is I also think I can fix things. And I try to fix things, but I end up on channels like, if you're watching this, like this one.
Yes.
To learn how to do stuff.
And there's lots of playlists here of how to fix your Jeep, fix your truck, fix like American car stuff. But here's the deal.
Because he knows how to do stuff.
But you've toughed it out. He did one. You did a PowerStop brake upgrade on your truck.
I did.
And where he didn't just do like the pads and rotors, you did calipers.
Yep.
Powder coated red calipers. Add another 15 horsepower.
Yeah, they do. And by the way, I will say that my PowerStop brakes, amazing stopping power. But on top of that, it's an interesting perspective. So for me to do my entire brakes like that, I was frightened to death.
Oh, you're opening up this magical brake system. You have to now bleed and like.
And I live on a hill. So as I go to test drive, I'm going downhill.
Yeah, you have to trust your own mechanical sense. Yeah.
Whereas you trust yours, I bet. More than
I was waiting for something, especially on that video is kind of recent on the AutoEdits YouTube channel of me first thrashing in this car. And I'll be honest, I was terrified that something catastrophically was going to go wrong. This happened over 5 years. You know what I mean? So I didn't trust
You've done
myself.
so many things to it.
Everything.
Yeah.
Anything that moves or it requires you to drive this thing has been redone, not just restored. It has rack and pinion steering. It has coilovers all the way around, canted 4-bar rear suspension. You know, like it's all different.
See, I don't think I would have ever finished this. That'd be one of those where I just bit off too much.
I felt that way a couple times.
I like to just change out the leaf springs or the radiator.
Again, back to the thing. He over his head on the brake install, but got it done.
Wait, I never said I was over my head.
Well, I was gonna say, when was the last time on a newer car you opened up a brake system, put it?
Even though I just raised my voice, like, well, I don't know why I did that, but at the same time, I was deep. I was in deep.
I
was
heard
scared.
it on the phone. He called me, and I was like, I can't come over right now to bleed these. You
That's what I
gotta
said
do
to him.
it.
I go, so like this is not that hard, right? Like this, like I can do this, and he's like, yeah, man.
Just gotta pay attention, do it right. It can go wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but. Again, so that's one of those things where what we bring to the table is like, I have kind of this like grounded, taught myself how to build a car from scratch kind of place. I fancy myself a decent driver. I'm not a race car driver, but
he's also been trained to do cool things. So he's.
I have done it, but it's been a while. Like we're now, years out from when I used to do that for on the regular.
Well, this is actually good timing because some of you are listening to this. But I think a lot of you, too, you have such a huge following here on this channel.
You wouldn't tell by the numbers. The subscribers are 135, and it's just stayed there.
Oh, okay.
135,000 has just stayed there. Oops. Thank you so much. If you
might be
are
120,
one of the
might be 125.
Yeah, we might
now.
be losing. We're gonna test this out. You guys know if you've been around this channel for a while, I like interacting in the comments. So generally, if you try to reach out to me,
yeah,
I'm there. So let us know if you like this, and let us know what you'd like to see us grow this thing. Because obviously, the ideal scenario is if this finds a home, is that this looks just like Joe Rogan's show.
With multiple cameras.
Multiple cameras. So that's kind of where I'd like to see it.
Well,
and then
I think it's
stuff.
cool from, again, talking to the people that are watching this, I think it's cool for you to share more content. Like they like this. Like I've written down some things that I'm curious about for you that I think they might enjoy.
I appreciate that.
If they're watching this all the time, but even if you're listening to this and not watching it, well, hello, this is still fascinating stuff too.
Okay.
I think. All
right. Oh, that's right.
And by the way, if you are just listening, you can watch it on the AutoEdits channel.
Yes.
It's pretty easy to find.
Yes.
It's just like it sounds.
It's
AutoEdits.
Right there. AutoEdits, yes.
This is the AutoEdits podcast.
Is that what we're going with that? We didn't actually agree on that before this. I mean, yeah, that's who we are.
So I think I should do this.
You're watching this organically happen. Like this is for real.
See, if you are watching this, and you've never seen me before. I usually focus on, and if you go to the Art Man channel, you'll see when I'm not getting videos pulled down. You'll see that I focus on like drunken travel, and it's slightly different.
You could just be travel. Do you think that the drunken gets more, or if
I think that's
travel...
for me. I think I enjoy.
Okay,
that.
so you seek out, and because
I love drunk people, my friend.
I've done a lot of miles with this guy out in the field. So that's how we met years ago at the E channel. For those that don't go back, and so I used to shoot a bunch of them, and then we would go different ways for a while, and then came back around. I shot a bunch more, and then we've just always been friends. He lives right across town from me, so cars were always.
By the way, how is that? So again, I apologize if we're explaining too much, but I think on the first one it's important. So I've always hosted these crazy travel shows. In the past, he's always done camera guy, and editing. But on this channel right now, if you're watching it, this guy, it's his channel. He hosts all this stuff.
Well, but I've told you this. The only reason I'm the host on this show is because I can't afford.
That is not
a good
true.
host.
So
if I could afford a good host, if I could afford you to come in and just do all the repairs, I would shoot those, edit those, post those videos. But I can only afford me, so you're stuck with me for now.
But what is that like? Like I think people would find this interesting. Like all of a sudden being in front of the camera. Like what is that like?
Okay,
I know a lot of people do it now.
Yeah. Well, for me, there's a really unique process that has happened over that. So. Not to get super heavy, but I struggle with depression. So like I am one of those guys that has like in my later, I didn't even realize in my whole life I've been really battling with this, but it got me here as I got a little bit older. So doing these YouTube videos, I didn't even know it at the time, but years ago was a mechanism to act happy. I had to be on camera. I had to focus, and I pretend it was a fake it till you make it thing. And I didn't even know it until last year when it got real. And I was like, oh.
So it's almost like during the time you're doing it, you're training yourself how to be happy?
Because you have to, I'm sharing this blessing. So I look at it, I've always known that the repairs that I'm doing on the cars, the upgrades that I'm doing that I'm sharing on the channel are all blessings. Like it's not like my life is good. So that was what was very confusing. Why did I feel bad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that sneaks up on you. Not a lot of people can understand. I don't want to get all heavy on that, but I do want to say a lot of people who don't understand that and feel it, it was neat. I reached out on social media and just kind of admitted it a little bit, and tons of people, both who had family members or were kind of had this and like, was that what this is? It was nice to get that. But anyway,
not to simplify it, but also to tie it back in, since we had this car podcast.
Yeah.
I would say, don't you think on some level, because I've always I have to have some sort of car or something that I can mess with because it makes me feel good.
We're wired that way. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'd say that most of us in our we gravitate towards the car, like especially in America.
Oh my God.
These things are
I love cars so much.
Yeah, they're our sense of freedom, they're our sense of identity or whatever. So it was one of those mechanisms that just, not only did I like anything automotive,
Yeah.
Like I bet you when you were a kid, you took apart lawnmower, you took apart, you
Oh,
did,
always.
you know what I'm saying? Like
My mom would be throwing something away. I'd be, what are you doing?
Hold
Give me
on.
that. Yeah, because I need to tear it apart.
yeah,
It's
you have to
getting thrown
figure
away
out
and- yep.
what's inside there. And, I can't tell you, as a child, I took apart the lawnmower, put it back together. Most of the time it ran afterwards, not all the time, but some of the time.
Right.
And it always had a few extra things. I'm like, I don't know where that went. And then,
My favorite thing, I know we're not talking about this, but we are now. I guess.
we are now. Hey, this show we can own it.
My favorite thing is when you buy an older car, it's that there's two things I love. Driving it home, I feel just like I just got my license again.
Yeah,
It's just such an incredible feeling. And then getting it back home, whether it's in the garage, in the driveway, and then just going through it.
Oh, yeah.
Just studying.
Oh, it's the
from
best part of getting an older
There's
car.
such a story
So
there.
much history and so much storytelling. This car in particular had some amazing stuff. There was a note left in the door to future owners.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it was so cool. The Cougar I had before this, under the tar paper. So it was a 1970 Cougar. Under the tar paper, dated 1974. So the car was on its back then. Cars went into the backyard fast. So it was junk, or 74, 75, and there was this stack of love letters from this poor dude who lived in a trailer park and his girlfriend. And oh man, I mean,
It's
we're
so
talking
fascinating.
crying, reading. Me and the wife were crying, reading these. Like, this is amazing. So I laminated them, and they live in that. I restored that car, sold it. They live in that car again to this day.
And even, too, especially these cars that are 40, 50, I mean, now some of the cars
50
we're
years
into are-
old, yeah.
Yeah. But even just looking at some of the ways they dealt with things, like you look under the hood and you're like, wait a minute, what have we done here? Like,
Yeah, why does that
So I guess
happen?
there's no heat because you've you've
there-
bypassed that.
Well, there's some. Yeah, you take liberties with
Yeah,
some
it's-
of these older cars, but
It's freaking fascinating.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. Now, but on your channel, you focus, and I know from knowing you, this is a passion, but you focus on the Jeeps and the trucks.
yeah, that's later in life. I've always been a truck guy, so I've almost always owned a pickup truck. So I don't know why. Like, there's us. I think this might be an American thing, but we touch people all over the world, and it's not literally.
You're almost
maybe
on my channel.
Yeah. Okay. So. But there are people that are wired. Like, to me, I'm a truck guy. So I've always driven and always been attracted to trucks. So I find them practical in my life. I end up using them a lot as a truck. So
And a
it's
truck,
thing, so.
as far as just like driving around, a truck is so comfortable, man.
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
Like I say, it's practical to throw junk. I'm a dirt biker, so I grew up. So I was always a dirt bike, taking it to the hills, mountain bike, whatever. So it was trucks have been forever, but then the Jeep thing happened about 5 years ago, and then I went full tilt.
The Jeep thing is fun. So I wanted to get on this too. I've
Yeah.
owned a couple Jeeps.
You've owned cool Jeeps, older stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, just being in this Jeep world, going to these Jeep events. So let's say, because I don't currently have a Jeep, and I miss it. It's fun
you need
too.
to get another Jeep.
I know I'm probably talking on your channel right now on the video. I'm talking to Jeep people.
Oh, that's
out
right.
there.
Video. Hey.
Yeah. So a lot of people own these. So if I was, and I love that world. Everyone waves to you. It's a community for sure. But if I want to dive right back in, I really want to know what is the Jeep right now that you would get?
Well, I have a JK. So you guys on the channel know I have a JKU, which is a 4-door last model. So right now we're in the JL world, which is the current model, and the JT, which is the truck model. But
Right.
so that's the platform we're on. I have the JK, which is the 2008 up to 2018, and it's a great platform. I'm in no rush to go to JL or JT. I like the truck, but the truck doesn't have the engine options for me. We could really dive deep into some of these amazing issues, but you guys can even.
Well, that's the beauty of this,
Yeah.
though. It's content, man. If you
Yeah.
like just listening to just car talk,
Yeah.
you're going to get
I
here
think-
because
I
we
think
ramble about just
I think
random.
the Jeep truck is intriguing to me. I have a Dodge Ram. I have my Jeep JKU, the 4-door Jeep. I like the 4-door Jeep because I like the wheelbase, because I like range. I don't want a rock crawler. I want something I could drive from here to Colorado. Like just recently, I drove a 2,000-mile road trip into Baja, ran a bunch of the Baja 1000 race course, kind of kept up with my buddy and his Raptor. And that's having the 4-door with the wheelbase, and I'm a pack rat. I like having a bunch of junk in my Jeep. So I like that. I like the looks of the 2-door better for sure, but I like the handling, the long range the 4-door. So
You're talking Fords, by the way, for a second there. You mentioned Raptor.
yeah.
What do you?
I love Raptors. If
I
I didn't get a score that Dodge out front there, I would have got a Raptor.
Oh, so
yeah.
okay. There's still time, man. Everyone has it. That's what's kind of interesting. You're listening right now.
I don't feel like there is. I feel like I'm like, oh, nah,
I have three. I always, and it changes all the time. But you always have like just things on deck that you want to get.
Yeah.
But have you seen the new Bronco?
I've seen a couple different versions, and now this is what I've heard. I'm curious to see. I'm hearing that they're coming out with the Ranger Bronco first. So later this year, they're going to debut. At least the spy shots I'm seeing, a couple of them looked okay. They had like bigger
some
tires.
things are calling it the Bronco Sport also.
Yes, well, that's the small one. So they have the Ranger Bronco, and then in 2 years, so 2024, they come out with a full-size Bronco, which is where my heart lies.
You can probably, on the video, you can go full screen maybe, but look at the big dog.
Yeah,
I like
makes
that a lot.
That makes my heart rate go up a little bit. And with tires and a little bit of stuff, a little bit of work, I think the little one can be cool too. I actually want to get a hold of one of these things. So hey, if someone knows someone at Ford, plug me in, because I will make content on that thing, because I want to get behind the wheel and see what that can do. So
I'm a little undecided on the little one. I ain't gonna lie to you. So
yeah, well, because it doesn't have that aggressive, or it doesn't evoke the emotion that the older ones. Even though the older one is the same size as the new little one.
No, that's what I'm saying. The little one. That's what they're going for with the little.
But
one.
they missed.
Yeah, no,
that thing still evokes
emotion. That's not a good
emotion.
example, because that one looks like something that my grandpa would drive.
But even then, that still evokes more emotion and whatever than the newer one does. Like the spy shots I saw just recently were a little bit like, they're okay, it's okay. But
I have a thing here.
With tires, with this car is actually a good example of that. With tires, and just a little bit of ground clearance, you could make that, even the little one. I'd be happy to get the chance to put it through its paces and share that story here.
I find this kind of interesting. This is from Barrett Jackson. They say that the 66 to 77 Broncos.
Yeah.
That's the first generation, right?
That's just 66 to 77. Yes. Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, I misheard that.
Yeah, because you're so used to me being wrong.
No. I'm reading it. I thought it was 66. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
No. So 10-year, the first series Broncos.
The first generation, yeah. But it says, this is again, Barrett Jackson says, the average price now is perfect condition is $47,000. Up from $23,000 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So this thing's just nonstop on the rise.
It's actually, as a car collector or as a car lover, I actually don't like seeing that. That's a bummer. I've seen lots. I've
seen them higher too. I just saw one $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a shame. Like, that means that rust buckets are out there for $20,000-$25,000, where a rust bucket used to be $8,000. And
any car guy will tell you that sometimes that Barrett Jackson being televised is their biggest enemy, because
it drives prices up.
Drives them up, and then they show up.
And they're junk, So it creates what I call a false platform for those prices.
I went to look at a '69 Mustang. The guy was asking a fortune for it, and I said, "Hey, how's it look underneath?" And he goes, "Oh, it's clean." And I get there, it's all rusty. And he goes, "No, that's clean. Like, that's considered clean." I'm like, "He's like, that's just dirty metal." I'm like, "No, that's rust." But yet, because of Barrett Jackson, he's like, "No, this is worth 38."
What's the whole thing?
It's not worth 38.
No low ballers. I know what I have, or something like that in the ad that they say.
Yeah, you have nothing, and it was
So it's an interesting hobby. Like, I don't know what you want to call it. Like, because of watching those fluctuations. Like, there's whole businesses sprouting up that just do Broncos now.
Yeah,
like Resto Mod and what that.
Have you seen the 2022 Hummer?
That kind of looks like the new line of all those, and that's electric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bunch of motor options too. They say it could actually, one of them could be 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah. I'll wait till
he's not sold on electric.
I'm skeptical. No, we have a Tesla.
Oh, okay.
I have a Tesla. My wife drives a Tesla. I'm all in on the electric. I actually wired in the fast charger, the whole deal. I'm all, but
weird that they would call it a Hummer. I mean, I guess just because they're copying kind of the wide.
Yeah. Well,
okay. But it has there's nothing. There's no relation. There's no DNA there.
The wheels, you can see there's some throwback. Come on, they're drawing some, but
all right.
But I think they're just borrowing on the name badge, and they're also trying to flip the script on. Remember, this is a hippie term, Earth Rapers.
Right.
When the hippies were thrown out back in the day, the Hummers got the brunt of it. You guys are polluting the most. Those are the worst. Like it was like, and. so they're trying to flip the script on that. They're just saying, okay, we're going to take the Hummers and we're going to make it electric. It's still a truck. It's still cool, but it's electric.
You know what I like about this, by the way? Again, I apologize on this first one. I'm going to do this a couple times, but if you're watching this,
I'm so curious if anybody watches this. This is going to be so unique. I love it.
Yeah, so you may be listening. If you're listening, this may be your last chance to see it.
We'll see how this goes.
This guy's going to pull it right off the channel.
Well, I know.
No, but what I think is cool about it is it's more content. People get to see, like I ask you questions. They get to learn a little bit about you. And then also,
for sure.
It's like hanging out with us. Look at this shot right here. You're sitting on the other side of the garage.
This is my garage. This is the garage. Hey, I actually was curious to see, do you guys want to do this? Like, what if we did a task during one of these? Like, if we brought your truck in and we did
and we just talk it up
and did a cold air intake or
live
while we're
yeah.
Like, I think that's a kind of a thing. So it's some hangouts. Like, but I don't think.
I like some of this long form stuff. I know the stuff you edit. Like, this guy's such a talented editor. Like, whatever. And so he can put together some cool stuff. But at the same time, sometimes it's nice. Talk about letting it breathe. This one shot for 45 minutes that's a lot of breath.
He's talking me into, like, he's teaching me how to do these podcasts. I'm going to try to throw in some pictures during that stuff. So we're going to.
Right, just whenever we talk about stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I wanted to give people a chance too. So if you are listening, sorry about this, but if you are listening, go over to the AutoEdits channel, but just so you can comment on this, because it'd be the best place for us to actually see these comments.
I will see every single one of them, so that's the best place to just talk to both of us, yell at either of us, and tell us this is awful or do more.
But what I want to, because this will get people fired up, I think this is a good way, this is a good thing for you guys to comment on. I want to talk to you about it. Mine is pretty simple. I've known you a while. I'm guessing yours might be more complex, but I want to know, when it comes to anything car-related, driving, people doing stuff to their cars, what is your biggest, number one pet peeve? What grinds your gears? Like, what is that one? When I say this, when I keep on talking and setting up the question way too long, what is the thing
easy
that you're
for me?
thinking
It's just the wrong wheels on a car, wrong wheels and tires on a car.
What do you mean by wrong?
It could go wrong is wrong. Like, too big, there's a lot of ugly wheels out on the market right now. And I don't understand some of it. Like, the fake bead locks are a thing. You can almost not buy a fake beadlock wheel for your truck. That's just what's available. There's so few.
I have fake beadlock.
I know. And those are one of the nicer.
You told
looks.
me not to swear.
And those are what are those methods? Methods on your truck. And those are some of the nicer looking ones in their lineup. No, to be honest, like, I'm being honest. This is look, I'm one of those realist car guys. Like, I know what I like, I know what I dislike, but I don't judge. Like, I appreciate all cars. Like, I will look at the guy with the fake Pep Boys portals on the side and the flames and the stickers and all that stuff, and I'll go, look, if that guy spent time customizing that ride and it makes him smile when he gets in it, good. That to me is not my thing. Like, here's the thing. I don't remember. Oh, here's a great example. Those lowriders. We were cruising into where in New Mexico.
Awesome.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Neither of us are like huge fans. We would never go to a lowrider show on purpose, but they were there, and you cannot not appreciate the craftsmanship and the effort that goes into these beautiful
Staring at
rides.
them.
Yeah.
The paint is
We
insane.
stayed out in the parking lot for hours with these guys.
And by the way, sidebar, we were in New Mexico covering an event that had 89 simultaneous drunken mud volleyball games.
Side plug for the Art Man show.
Artman.com.
No. This is okay, because this is our part. This is what we do. This is
being sarcastic.
No, this is what we do. Yeah. This is how.
It's our background.
That's what we. So, the mud volleyball tournament was why we were there. But anyway,
pretty cool, because the hotel we were at,
just so you know, where
very close.
Yeah, just so we know, we come from a place where, if it's not our thing, I like cars. I like the car scene. It doesn't have to make me happy.
Yeah, do your thing.
Do your thing. And so I will judge. Like, this is a great example of this car. I'll show a picture of this car in the stands. I have a 73 Mustang. It's the worst Mustang they ever made.
No one likes this
biggest. It's not even a fastback. But look at this shot.
It's the ugly stepsister.
Look at the shot of that I'm going to put up on the screen right now, and look at the stance that I did.
No, it's great.
It did it. And that's just massaging a few of the things. This car's not even close to done, but this gives you the idea of where I want to see a car.
I don't like these.
Yeah, and I can't blame you, because look at this thing.
But I love I love what you've done with
Yeah,
her.
and this thing's
She's sexy as hell. Yeah.
And it's got this is full dork. This is another thing. I'm not going to even hide that I'm not a dork. I'm a dork. This thing's like the Millennium Falcon. Here's the quote from Star Wars. It's got it where it counts.
Right.
It's ugly.
Right.
That line in
Got
the old
big D.
in the original. Yes, it has that. It's got it where it counts. This thing is. It will scare the heck out of you in the canyon, but not in a bad way. It's only because it's so fast. Like this thing carried corner speeds faster than the Lotus. The only car out of all of the cars that I took on Templin Highway, and Templin Highway is in the worst condition right now than it's ever been.
Right.
That was faster than this was the Aston Martin. So a $230,000 car was the fully independent suspension car with a V12. Was faster than this. Not a 750 horsepower Super Snake, not the Lotus with all the fancy handling and all that stuff. I love the Lotus. It was a very fun car and even Elia's car, all-wheel drive, 550 horsepower.
The Evo.
This thing had more corner speed.
Yeah.
I can't even explain that. That's part luck, part good components, part good setup. I was top of fourth gear in a section that's fast in this. That I looked down and went,
what was that, like 110?
About, yeah, like 100, just a little over 100, yeah. So
was it really?
Yeah.
In this thing?
Yeah. I don't want to say that because I don't want to get in trouble. Some sheriff is going to go,
no, it was a closed road.
What road?
No.
It was a dead-end road.
But just to back you up, because I really want people to interact a little here. So what you're saying is your number one visual pet peeve are the wrong wheels.
Yeah.
My visual is really dopey and stupid, but it drives me mad. The license plate frame from the dealership. Just get that off of there.
I don't like those either, but I kind of let it go because people just don't. I actually used to, my wife used to, I would take it off and she goes, I want that back on. And I go, why would you want, did they give you a deal on this car? They didn't give us a discount on that car.
I didn't mean to, I just caused trouble. She hates me now. I was just saying with some people.
Probably.
Now, so I want to also talk about
that is a thing. Why take that
No, take it off
there. Yeah,
man.
take that off of there.
And even when it's a decal, come on. Clean that up.
I bought a Toyota from the Galpin in the valley one time. They put that thing on right as I was heading out the door. We did the paperwork.
Yeah.
No. I drove it right to the thing and went, someone comes out with a heat gun. That comes back off. What? Or you could take $5,000 off the price and I'll be happy to let you leave that on. And they were like, oh, we'll get the guy out with the heat gun now.
We bought this. I was with my daughter. We went up to buy this E30 race car project thing. And so it's on a trailer and first stop, we're getting gas and it had this big sticker on the window. And I go, hey, dude, Google that and see what that sticker is. It ended up being some crazy hate group. I'm like, oh my God. Geez. So I'm in the gas station up on top of the thing trying to peel it. We couldn't get it all off, so we're putting tape over it. It's
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. So just, peel those stickers off.
Is there a way to put in the comments for people to say some of their things without it getting out of hand
no.
Don't hate on people, but share some of the things that you guys don't like seeing.
No, and I actually think this one will get them more passionate. So now I want to talk about the moving violations, we'll call them. When the cars are out there, you're out there with other cars.
All right.
What grinds your gears on that one? Because I got an obvious one that's everybody. Mine's the left lane.
Start us up. Parking in the left lane. Yeah.
Get out of the left lane.
Yeah. Here's the deal. It happened today. I was driving down the 405. Ugh. It's a horrible freeway here in LA, but it's the main artery that goes up and down the coast. 5 under the speed limit. Now here's.
I don't think you should be over there doing the speed limit. Watch it. Someone's closing
flow of
on
traffic.
you.
Flow of traffic.
And
yeah.
I've driven in all 50 states except for Alaska.
Wow.
And I can tell you that, and I know people will argue with me on this. California, you are doing this the worst.
Yeah, I have to say, I think so too.
And you'll flash them super polite,
and then they get mad.
Yeah, they brake check you.
Yeah,
and they don't get it. Just get out.
Here's today's thing. Today, so I'm behind a lady on the thing. She's going 5 under the speed limit. Now I try to be a gentle driver. That's Pinto the Dog. If you guys don't know, that's right. This on video, so you guys know.
The dog loves me. She just tongued me out.
Oh, it's still rolling. Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's blinking.
It was blinking. I think it's switching memory cards, or I see the red light still going. So
we got it as long as we captured that Pinto moment. Now it's time for motorsport news.
Oh, I love this part. This is my favorite part of this.
All right, let's talk a little bit because I see a lot of reaction to this online. So first, we're talking NASCAR.
Oh, don't get me started.
And this is tradition. Forever they've had the 15-inch steel
Aero or I forget the other brand, but yes, steel wheels. Yeah.
Been around racing forever.
Yep.
And what is it? It is a 5. You have
Five
to
lug,
imagine
yeah.
a pit stop.
5 lug. Yeah.
So they're changing that, first of all, to an 18-inch
Right.
rim, which I love this.
Okay. I'm not. Just
I
so
love
we're
it.
clear about this.
I
Yes,
love it
I'm
because it's not an off-road truck; it's a freaking road car.
Okay.
And they're going with just a single
center capture lug. Yeah.
Yeah. And NASCAR actually is saying it's for safety.
And it'll equalize the teams because did you know that some of the teams spend millions of dollars on air guns and technology
Insane.
on air guns, and so some of the smaller teams just cannot compete with that stuff.
And that's ultimately what they're trying to do. You already know this, but ultimately what they're trying to do is create a more level playing field because it's more exciting to watch. Yeah.
To use fancy word. I'm using fancy words. Okay.
And so obviously that will bring the teams closer together. But some of the traditional guys out there
do that, but
yeah, exactly.
they're going to find it's racing. Then that their job is to find the other thing that's going to give them the edge, and they'll figure out how to make that work. But here's my wrinkle on that.
Okay.
Here's the wrinkle. Remember the car tomorrow. Remember the car tomorrow.
Yes. Ugliest wing of all time.
Right? Okay, but they were thinking that was going to make it relative. I kind of like the old school. It's the last part of the car that is throwback to the old days when the men were men and they had to actually drive before everything was, we're going to
I know.
You're going to be driving next to the, pardon me,
I see what you're saying, but to
for your
me,
18-inch wheels.
But to me, it's supposed to be stock car racing. It's supposed to be based on vehicles you can buy today. And I just want to know which car comes with steel rims.
It just flashed on. We define stock car different. See, I evoke when I hear the words stock car, I think 70s. The 60s, 70s, that's a stock car. No, it's a thing. You're thinking a stock. See, the quotes are moving. No. Mine are stock car is a thing. You're thinking stock car. Something that looks like a relevant thing off of a showroom floor now.
Well, that is what it's called.
I know, but I'm just telling you. I'm not saying this made sense. I'm just saying that this is what it is.
No, I just meant but it's supposed to be based on that. Obviously, it's drifted way away from that.
But they're not. But they're not at all. They're just a rough shape with a bunch of stickers from the modern car on it. They aren't even close. They're a plank side, so they can fit the most amount of advertising. Have you ever actually seen one in real life?
No, but that flare they added actually is pretty good.
It's better.
Yeah,
they're back to. But you remember for 20 years, it was literally a plank wall. The side of the car was just a plank, so they could fit the most billboard stuff on it. So
no, and we all know it's insane, to try to, because you're just putting different noses on and calling one car.
Yeah, and stickers of headlights and stickers of taillights, and they even have stickers of exhaust pipes on them now.
But my point is, I think since it's based on it's based on you driving these cool cars. Like you like to imagine yourself in there. It should be a little closer to what I can buy and what I drive.
Let's see them on the track. Let's see how they handle. I believe that you're going to see, this is just my guy as a driver, you're going to see a lot of tire failures over the first season that they try this.
As they're just learning, yeah.
As they figure out how to build a compound, here's the deal.
With a low profile, yeah.
Yeah, they need that rubber, that amount of carcass on the outside of that thing to be able to withstand the loading that they do on those things. So think about that.
See, the thing is, you were moving the quotes all over the place, but
that was a funny realization. Is I think of a stock car as an animal. It's a thing that lived in at a certain time, and it should always stay as that thing. You're saying stock as in what a current.
Well, what car now? This would be fun to Google. What car now comes with a 15-inch wheel? I don't even think a Civic. Civic probably is not even that small.
I think that they are those little smart cars.
Oh,
where
yeah,
the quotes are on the
smart
car.
But even that BMW has a big old. Did you ever see this?
18, yeah, but it's a pizza cutter. It's a mountain bike tire. The i3.
I know, but have you seen
that?
Have you seen the engineering of that? Why they went with a larger diameter? It's pretty cool. It's classic BMW. So the idea was they needed it narrow,
right,
so that it would obviously it rolls easier and gets better
lighter rolling resistance. Yeah.
Yeah, but they figure with a bigger diameter, that contact patch will still be big. It's just now a long rectangle, instead of a square. Google it.
Okay.
That's what the
I'll
engineers
believe
are
it.
thinking.
I
I just find it interesting.
That car didn't ever, like, a friend of mine has one and got to spend some time, drove it. I said it just didn't do it for me. I was like, yeah, okay, the range wasn't there, wasn't quite fast enough, but it was cool. Like, the build quality obviously was good.
I think you don't like change when it comes to racing. I think that's what a lot of it is.
Well, here's the deal. How about this? Like, to when Formula One went away from the V10 back to these, or not back to, but to these crappy sounding turbo engines, like, give me a break.
That's
like,
different. That's different.
That
See,
ruined that sport for me.
I've heard Dale Jr. talk about how he was the first one to care what color the side skirts were.
But he was, and that was cool.
No,
yeah.
and I think I'm not embarrassed to say you should love that car you're driving. I should love that car I'm rooting for, and that's where I think having that 18-inch wheel.
Yeah.
Have you seen the test shots?
Yeah.
It looks sick. That car looks cool to me.
You know what? It does. Okay, I'll give you that.
I want them to look good.
Here it is. It's like my weird grandpa style practical side is like, it don't look like a stock car, but it does look good. I'll give him that. And I do want to I would love that Dale Earnhardt was so above the curve. Because remember, you know why he did that? He did it purely for looks. He came from the gaming world where he was building cars in iRacing and spending a lot of time designing his paint schemes and stuff for that. And that's when he decided, he goes, look, I want the color, because all of the cars had a black skirt. So from the body line, from the bottom of the rocker to the
and it looked
track,
like space. It looked like space. It didn't look like with his car. It looked low.
Well, and that was what he wanted. He's just like, these are race cars. These aren't stock cars.
And same thing. That's why I respect him, because he wants the car. That'd be the same way. I want that car to look good.
He was the leader. And then not everybody.
They're all body color.
Now. So he owned that.
Enough about NASCAR. Let's move to Formula One, my friend.
Man. Okay.
So, in an interesting move, same year this is happening, 2021, F1 is now moving up to an 18-inch wheel also.
Right.
From a 13. They have little tiny.
Right. Well, you know why that is. Again, it's very much why NASCAR, I think they're going to struggle going with a smaller
but see,
tire.
that's what I like, because it throws a wrench into it.
But I don't think struggle in a good way. I think they're going to struggle in a bad way. Like, I don't think it'll make the racing less dynamic when you have a tire like that. So now go ahead and finish your thing, because I have a.
Well, no, there's a part 2 to F1 also, is they're eliminating the tire warmers, which I think is fantastic, because now you have a guy leaving the pits
on legit cold tires.
Yeah, because now as long as you get out in front of somebody, you got it.
Yeah.
And now what's going to happen is you get in front of someone, good luck holding on to that thing, and if they get around you, now you eventually, when your tires come up to temp, you actually have better tires, so now you're going to come again. So you've just added 2 more passes to a sometimes boring
potential.
Yeah,
potential. You open up the opportunity for potential, and you invite driving again. So that's good. So I'm all on board with that. And here's what's interesting about the 18-inch wheel in Formula One is that, again, tire sidewall was a big part of the suspension on those vehicles.
Right.
So that now they're going to have to design suspension.
Which I like making them do things.
I find that fascinating, because they keep trying to. So you like to watch a lot of cars go single file around a track.
Such a My point was, I watch a lot of F1. I like things like this that'll improve.
I agree. I agree.
The watchability.
I think that, but I always hear the bits that I snipe into the F1 world, and then you hear like, oh, they're worried about the costs spiraling out of control, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you see them like, we're going to go to 18-inch wheel and have everybody have to redesign their suspensions from scratch. That seems like that's not going to save anybody any money.
Right.
So, but other than that, like I dig. I
think what a lot of
I'm
them are
not
thinking
such
is,
a curmudgeon that I don't like change. So I do think that's neat. I like the.
I want you to disagree with me. I like this, because half the people are going to be.
It's the first of the tire warmers that I've heard. So that's cool. I like that.
I think it's awesome. Yeah. I think, and that'll save costs too, because
I did go deep dive. Like I don't know if you guys do this the same thing on the interwebs. Once you do the deep dive, I go deep. So did you know that they're now trying to deal with, they have the technology of changing toe in and toe out alignment on the cars on the fly, on the track, per turn. And now the FIA is like trying to figure out how to deal with that technology, because now they're able to. So I just went through this on this car right here before I went into the mountains. I had to, get it aligned, and I have a certain spec that I like, so from years of racing, toe out on a car. When you couldn't adjust this on the fly, you would set, okay, so for this car as a street car, a tiny bit of toe in, slightly off of neutral, 16.
What's that give me? A little more bite?
It actually gives you less bite at turn in, but a more stable car at speed. So you get a more stable car at speed, and then you lose a little bit of that aggressive bite. But that's actually good on a street car. So on a car like this, it's good. Now, if you're an autocross car or just a track car, little bit of toe out gives you that instantaneous turn in because that inside tire is already transferring weight, trying to get the car to rotate. So they're now have the technology of having these finely tuned, high-strung F1 cars being able to get to neutral to slight toe in down the straightaways, then instantaneously within like fractions of a second go into toe out mode, get razor sharp turn in for a set of S's or whatever turns. I can't even imagine like tracks like Spa or things like that where you just like have these insane, things. So
yeah,
that boggles my mind. Like that to me, that again brings the drivers. I don't know how the regulation they're going to deal with all this stuff because they have to.
They always have to. Remember they had that thing with the wing where it was.
Yeah, they have no active wings. But then did you realize how the teams got around that? And this is all racing is all about how to cheat, all how to interpret the rules.
Advantage.
So you know what they did to change the active wings was just they made the wings out of different materials. So they were active. They had to watch slow-mo cameras. A lot of those slow-mo cameras on the tracks were to watch the wings down the straightaways as they would bend.
Yeah.
To be active. So they weren't moving on their own, but they would bend into the next position. This is just like next level stuff.
The engineering,
awesome.
it's
so that's what I love about F1.
And that's what I like about change.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to throw a different wheel size at them.
Yeah.
And everyone has to just, all that stuff we used to know, goodbye. Let's start over. Let's figure this out.
I do like that. And you always see somebody gets it and somebody doesn't.
Yeah. No, and hopefully it won't
somebody.
be the same team.
I'm done seeing McLaren just walk away with it. Like, or not McLaren, Mercedes. Mercedes. Sorry.
Could edit that.
Yeah, I won't. I'll own it. But I'm tired of just like them just.
But even if you're an F1 fan, but if you're not, there are essentially 3 teams. So every race is won by almost always one team, maybe one of the 2 teams, and then maybe one of the top 3 teams. The rest of the guys, that's a whole nother race going on. There's a mid-pack race, and then there's a just don't be last race.
Right.
And that's it. And it's horrible. It's horrible to nobody wants to watch that. But at the same time, do you want a spec series or do you like? Because remember that like go back to NASCAR for a second. How cool is it when you have these different cars on the track? That's crazy.
That was what I loved. And then the curmudgeon in me loved back when cars were cars.
Yeah.
I loved it when they started with sheet metal that actually came off the showroom floor and started that edge. Like my favorite. Okay, what's your favorite racing series? Historical, just period.
I always like the IROC series, to be honest with you.
That's cool. But which generation? Like, remember there was IROC?
The one, the actual Camaros.
Okay.
But also the
they had Trans Ams for a while. Yeah.
So I've actually watched those on YouTube. I'm such a super nerd with that.
That was cool. That series was a magical thing. But here, even on that started that series or inspired that series was the Trans Ams, the actual Trans Am series.
Yeah.
Before Can-Am, like Can-Am was a whole different animal, but the Trans Am series.
I used to watch that with Tommy Kendall.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean Trans Am 68 to 73. That was the original Trans Am series. Again, when there were cars. Hey. I have zero issues with the Trans Am Tommy Kendall era because he was the best of the best of the best of the best.
No, but those cars were sick too.
The one thing that I learned, I got into the Roush pits at some point, and I was able to spend some time with him and watch him test. This guy was so good. Tommy Kendall love right here. Oh my God, this guy. And I was going through my driver's training at the time. I was like taking every class I could. Like I was doing the Skip Barber School. I was doing the series at the time. This guy was so good. He would bang gears and now the technology was good, but it wasn't super good back in that day of the Trans Am cars. They were 8,000 RPM engine. That was amazing. So he would have his crew chief would tell him where the rev limiter on the chip was in the engine. So he would know, and they didn't have sequential gearboxes at the time. So he would just bang the thing off the rev limiter, just floor it, bang. It would just touch the rev limiter. He would use that to grab the next gear. Never lift. Wah, come on. And he just was so in tune with his car. He could hear it hit the rev limiter.
Yeah, no, he's something else.
Grab the next gear. Oh man, that kind of driving. But anyway, I like the 60, like the old Trans Ams back when Penske was like acid dipping bodies of Camaros into, and they were massaging, doing all kinds of crazy stuff to cars. I like that. And those were cars, and they were banging doors and doing stuff. And then, so
no, I bounce around a lot. I like I'll get stuck in
15-inch wheels.
Dude, I'll watch whatever. Come on, man. I'll watch if it's raining out. I'll watch 2 drops on my slider at home. Like, and that's a race to me. I'll watch anything.
And again, I think hopefully we tap into that.
I think it's
kind
cool
of human being, like man or woman. Like that's one of the things I love about the AutoEdits YouTube channel. If you happen to be there, is that group that come in is that I have both men and women that kind of share a little bit of that gene, that little bit of love for the automotive. So I dig that.
No, I can't even. Sometimes when I think about it, I can't even put it into words. I just, like, even from when you were a kid, were you sitting in class just reading the road and track and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Didn't you like the Penny Saver or what your local
Auto Trader
was? Like that Joe Dirt when he was like looking at it, he was like, this guy wants $200 for a sunshade for a 68 Roadrunner? He's crazy. That was me. I had no car, but it was like
I've told this story before on my stuff, but I'll tell it again because that doesn't stop me. So my first car, and this is very redneck and very also weird.
Well, tell people where you grew up.
I'm losing my mic right here. I got to tighten this. But I grew up in New England, just a small town in the Berkshires, and I got my mic fixed. And so in 7th grade, my mom let me use my apple picking money to buy a 68 Ford Econoline van, or 68 or 69 van.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So on the way back from the apple orchard, I saw it in this guy's front lawn. He wanted $150 for this thing. And I don't know if you remember this van. You're pretty much sitting out in front of this thing. I bought it, got it to our backyard. Me and my boys, we first thing we did was take off the engine cover because we wanted to see that thing and what it did. We learned later that the fumes made us dizzy and we couldn't really drive very far.
Just made you better.
Yeah. But
care less.
Took the doors off, built kind of a little course. I don't want to say dirt track because I don't want you to have an image of something that was
like actually on purpose.
Yeah, little course we made out in my field in the back, and my first car was this old 3-speed on the column van that so loose and crazy in the back. We got it on its side one time, had to flip it back. Like there was some craziness in that van, but that was my first car and. My mom is awesome for letting me get that, but right from that day, just that smell, like
just the old engine smell. It's like old gunk and some gas and some whatever. Yeah,
passenger seat wasn't bolted down. So my boy Tim, if you got in it hard, I'd corner my eye, I'd just see my boy Tim disappear
into the back.
We really got to bolt that down, Tim.
Yeah, but would you? No, I've used ratchet
we'd ride up to
hold
it.
Yeah,
we'd play all the we do movies where you're riding up and trying to jump into the moving van.
Again, I think that probably
what a toy.
You were blessed to have that, to cement that. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people don't get that lucky to get that visceral interaction with an older car. I got lucky, similar type of thing. Like my old Maverick, it was the same thing. It's in my grandpa's field. That was told that's your first car. It had weeds growing up through it because like Lake Elsinore had flooded.
So it was your job to bring it back to life.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's beautiful.
So 13, 14 years old, was like out there trying to get it running and, just it was cool. And then all of a sudden I was dirt road womping that thing up here. Like, so Hasley Canyon, all those roads that used to do the Dukes of Hazzard stuff. We used to call it, let's go Dukes of Hazzard driving. So my bud and I would go up there and just be like literally what the drifters do now. We were out there doing that in the dirt with our cars, back then. Yeah, I know. With way less skill, but we thought we were pretty good.
There's some stuff I did in my mom's car that I wouldn't want to talk about on here because she
eventually she would hear it. It would live there. Yeah, she was like,
I feel bad. Still,
I can't believe you did that.
My buddy, we were doing a little rally driving through this whole cornfield section of town, and I watched my buddy rip the rear axle off his mom's Chevy Chevette. I think. Is that a car?
Yeah, front drive. So then, that would be why the front rear axle got ripped out. Yeah,
I watched the rear axle.
It's just a bar basically with 2 tires attached to it.
An ill-advised shortcut through a drainage ditch, and the car made it through, but the rear axle said, "I'm going to stay over here." Yeah,
sounds about right.
But beautiful stuff. I think. Should we wrap this up?
I think so. Yeah. We probably have boredom to death at this point. No, we can't.
No, hopefully you enjoyed just hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Dude, I like this. I like this. Let stuff breathe. It's a change of pace for me from what I normally do. Where
let's see if
you're not drunk. I normally talk to drunk people.
Yes, as far as you know.
Yeah, you're not drunk, so that's a change of pace. So, of course, if you are listening to this, go to his YouTube. Check out AutoEdits on YouTube.
Yes.
Great stuff. Also, go to my, it's the Art Man channel. I get banned all the time, so there's probably...
But your old stuff is still there. You just can't put new stuff there, yeah.
No, I try. There's a new video on there right now, so I can put some new, but it's
all
just,
right,
yeah.
so do all
Who
the
knows
plugs.
how long it'll stay there.
Do all the plugs, AutoEdits. Go to the social media, plug social media too. Artman, what are you on?
Hey, it's Artman on Instagram.
Hey, it's Artman. I'm AutoEdits Jason on Instagram, so go there, do something.
What about brakes? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, yes, we should have mentioned PowerStop Brakes.
We mentioned it one time.
We did. That you have I have them on all my vehicles, but the Mustang because I have Willwoods on this thing. Yeah, go help.
And I think I'm the best commercial for them because I mean, not saying the best, but I make good commercial.
Own it, take it.
No, but because it's truly,
is it obvious we're going for sponsorship with PowerStop Brakes?
It's truly plug and play though, because I was able to.
And you can go which level you want. You went advanced and went for the power coated red calipers. Like my first kind of. What is it? When I first introduced to that brand was I just did pads, the Z36 pads and rotors on my Jeep. Super easy. Took about 2 hours total to do the whole thing and then go drive them around. Made a humongous difference. And then the fact that the no dust thing was like the fact that they performed better was amazing. But then no dust on your rims, it was like night and day. So they've been good to me. They let me go on trips with them. They do whatever. So we're trying to get them on board as sponsors. So
I believe they are now.
Okay,
they
are sponsors.
test.
All right. I forgot we were supposed to do that. Thank you, PowerStop, for being on board with this one.
We're out of here. We're supposed to leave fast to leave you wanting more. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Bye.